The 6 biggest Commander storylines.
It is caught!
Delivered at 6 o'clock sharp. It's the Pick 6 at 6.
We set out to find a leader, someone who could take this franchise to the next level, build an elite team that consistently competes for championships.
All right, it was Jayden Daniels Day here in Ashburn, a.k.a. QB. I'm going to start calling him QB1 because he's been QB1 the last at least 3 practices, and there's just so many there's only so many in a row that you say, like, hey, he's QB1. Is he actually QB1? And you just eventually you're like, I'm using my own intuition here. QB1, draft pick number 2. Number 1 of the Dan Quinn, Adam Peters era. Spoke and we got a bunch of it, starting with number 1.
Number 1.
He became infamous, whatever, at LSU for his work ethic in the early mornings. And so he was asked today how that routine has transferred over to the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I get here around like 5:45, and just like walking through in the bubble, in the indoor, watching film and stuff like that. But prepare myself for the day. It's just that routine that I had when I was in college, but now I'm in there actually walking through because I'm not. I'm still learning the playbook and trying to grasp everything. So just being comfortable for the day and being ready to go out there and go out and compete at practice.
Are you by yourself when you're doing that?
Me and Luke McCaffrey.
One, I love that Luke is with him, and I wish I knew that yesterday when I spoke to Luke McCaffrey. If you missed that, you can check it out in the Hoffman Show podcast feed or on demand on YouTube at Craig Hoffman or at the Team 980. But I think one thing that has unlocked Jayden Daniels is somewhere along the line, Jayden Daniels understood, or someone told him, or just intuitively figured out, he is an experiential learner. And what that means is you learn by doing, right? So you can be an auditory learner, a visual learner. Some people can look at something and be like, okay, I got it. Some people can be told, they hear it, they're like, okay, I got it. Very clearly, Jayden Daniels is an experiential learner. And this is why the VR stuff is so important for him. Because when he has that VR headset on, he's essentially living the experience, and that is how he learns. And so the fact that he's in here, where I am right now, in the bubble, before practice every single day, he's got the script, he's understanding, okay, I need to go through this so that I am prepared. Some guys can do that by looking at the script and understanding just intuitively what it is. They've run the plays before, or they studied them in the playbook, and they don't need to do it, they just need to see it. Or they were in an install meeting and they heard a coach talk about it, and that was good enough. For Jayden, for that final piece to click, for him to feel really comfortable with it, for him to have a comfortability to say, I got this at the level I need to go out to practice, he needs to do it. And so he has figured out a routine where he does it, and now he's got a battle buddy with him in Luke McCaffrey, who's a football sponge. That dude loves to learn, and that is a great pairing. And Luke's a former quarterback. I'm sure that's helpful at times. But also just for Luke, like, to get that rapport with Jayden and to run through this stuff himself. Maybe he's also an experiential learner. And so I can't express enough how much admiration I have for Jayden for putting in that kind of work, because that takes time and it takes dedication to get up that early in the morning. I certainly am not I'm a pretty good morning person, but I'm not a 5:45. I'm up and I'm moving morning person. And a lot of quarterbacks will tell you that's what it takes in this league. It's just, I guess he could do it after practice and kind of prepare for the next day, but your body's sore, you've already been through practice, whatever. And so the time to do it is that early morning and before all the coaches are in, before the meetings, before breakfast, before everything. And he does it. And credit to him. And it's impressed his teammates, including veterans like Nick Allegretti, who mentioned the other day that he's there pretty early, but not as early as Jayden, which was brought up to Jayden today.
Yeah, 100%. The work that you put in is the work that you're going to, give out. And if you really want to be successful, you want to learn, you want to be a pro at the highest level, you got to take knowledge of people. Learn from their routines, what help them be successful. Obviously, Nick, he was with the Chiefs and what they did over there. So he gets here early, man, and I'm always an early guy. I kind of learned that when I was at LSU, and now I took it here. Still trying to tweak it a little bit, but I still got a long way to go.
I do imagine there's some tweaking that has to happen. I wanted to ask Jayden about this, but he had already been asked about the routine a couple times by the time I was talking to somebody else and then got up to the press conference. But I'd imagine there was like a week period where he's like, okay, how do I get into the bubble? Where's the weight room? Where's this thing that I want in the weight room? What time can I get breakfast? There's just new job stuff that no matter what job you're doing, quarterback of the Washington Commanders, radio host, finance guy, whatever. You got to learn the new stuff in the office. And so I wonder how long it took for him to kind of get that routine. And he said he still is trying to figure out the best way to do it as a pro. All right, number 2.
Number 2.
Something that has stuck out to me in talking to Darrick Forrest today and Luke McCaffrey yesterday one-on-one is the gigantic megawatt smiles on their faces. And I don't think it's because they think I'm the world's greatest interviewer and they're having the most fun talking to me. I hope that they're having fun. I think the interviews were very good. Defoe was earlier in the show today, Luke yesterday, again, both on all of our on-demand platforms. But, these guys are clearly having a great time out there. And Jayden Daniels, that includes him and the rest of his rookie class. And JD5 asked about the fun that everybody seems to be having, at least, today at the podium.
A ton. It's something I dreamt about since I was a kid. Be able to come out here and just have the blessing to go out there and play football at the highest level. You can't take it for granted because it could be done at any moment.
100%, and it's a dream coming true, but it's also the atmosphere. Some rookies get to the league. This is across all sports, right? Some rookies get to the league, and you're like, man, this is tough. This is a grind. This is a beating, and eventually you figure it out, but it's not always fun. And some are Jayden Daniels, and they're like, man, dream come true. I got great support staff. I like Cliff Kingsbury, like Marcus and Jeff and Sam Hartman are great in my room. Like this is fantastic. It's kind of funny, and I'll swerve for a second. The WNBA version of this right now is sometimes you come into the league and you're Caitlin Clark, and you go to the Fever and you're getting your butt kicked and it's everything. And then sometimes you're Kate Martin, and you go to the Las Vegas Aces and you're having the time of your life walking around with a Hello Kitty backpack. And you're all the fun memes.
Hello Kitty. Yeah, and a nice boombox that they were gifted, like when she first got
and $100,000.
And exactly, I was about to say that too.
What a time.
She's having the time of her life. Advantage
on that one, Kate. Anyway, Jayden and company having a good time. And it's not just the rookies, the vets, which matters. It just seems like a great place to be. I mean, the coaches, too. Daryl Tapp was delightful when he sat down. And that, I think, is the standard, is, hey, we're going to work hard, but we're going to have fun. As Dan Quinn said, there's nothing better than kicking tail with people that you like. And that is their plan 24/7, 365 here in Ashburn. We'll see how well they do on that part. To number 3.
Number 3.
We'll bookend with Daniels. Number 5 and number 6 in our Pick 6 at 6 will be more from JD. But 2 other things from today that I wanted to touch on. No soundbite on this one, just observations. So the offensive line rotation today was interesting. I don't know, it's noteworthy in that you're going to write down, make a note, but I don't know that it's like, hey, this is really significant. So I'm prefacing it with that. But they continue to rotate everywhere. But I've never really seen, outside of a true position battle, an offense rotate along the offensive line like these guys have, where they are intentionally mixing and matching. And, yeah, you cross-train guys. Of course, guys get days off, and sometimes it happens naturally. But to just say, hey, everybody's healthy, but today, Cornelius Lucas, you're the second-string right tackle. Nick Allegretti, you're the second-string center. Michael Dieter, you're the first-string left guard. Brandon Coleman, first-string left tackle, is interesting. And I love it because it's the same thing we talked about yesterday with mixing and matching all these defensive backs. You want to both cross-train guys to be available at different positions, have some familiarity with some different guys next to them if they are forced into action. And all these guys could be potential starters, probably except for Dieter, injury pending. I would be stunned if Allegretti's not the starting left guard. And they just want to make sure he gets some reps at center in case they ultimately have an injury to Tyler Biadasz, and maybe that's their plan, is they think they're better versus subbing Ricky Stromberg or another backup center in, or even Dieter at center. They think Dieter's a better guard. So you have Allegretti kick in and Dieter play guard. And it's a way to get your best 5 on the field. But to figure out who your best 5 are, you need to let them play with other guys, because if a guy is constantly having an issue and maybe that issue is spurned on by the guy next to him, well, you change the guy next to him and the issue gets fixed and you go, oh, well, okay, now I understand better. So it's an evaluation tool. It's a learning tool where you have to, play off different guys. I just think it's really smart, and it was interesting to see. I also think it's, whatever significance it is, I don't think it's the best thing for Ricky Stromberg that he's all of a sudden being bumped down to being the third center. Maybe it was just for today. Maybe it was a cross-training thing for Allegretti specifically, and Stromberg will be back with the 2s tomorrow. But I think it was worth noting, and of course it's worth noting that Brandon Coleman is out there at left tackle and was out in space showing off his athleticism. And we'll see ultimately when they get pads on how well he performs at that position, because I think ideally he wins that job and he's there obviously for the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years would be the optimal turnout for the mid-round pick out of TCU. Okay, number 4. Our pick 6 at 6. 6 biggest storylines of the day. 6 observations at 6 o'clock. Continue to just hear nothing but great things about Bobby Wagner, both from the defensive guys and the offensive guys. Jayden Daniels actually talked about his conversations with the future Hall of Famer and what he's learning from the Commanders' middle linebacker.
A lot. I mean, I talk to them all the time. Just what did they see? Why they do this? What did you see from this? What made you check to this? Stuff like that. But I mean, that just comes with the game. You're trying to soak up as much knowledge as possible, and you got guys like Bobby that have been playing at a high level for a very long time. So as much as I could be around them and pick their brain, I'm willing to do that.
No doubt. And I think that is worth noting, not just because it shows well for Jayden, it shows well for Bobby, but there's a couple times in his press conference today where Jayden showed a clear comfortability talking about defensive players. And I know this might sound weird, but that's not normal. Because a lot of times in the NFL, the offense and the defense kind of live in separate worlds, and the togetherness of this entire team is a thing. And the fact that Jayden is super comfortable with John Enduran and Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu and Jeremy Chin and all these guys speaks well to him as an individual, and the fact that guys gravitate to him. It's something that is important for a quarterback, and he's got it in spades. But it is also a credit to DQ and AP and everyone else up and down the front office and the coaching staff who has set a culture and also been, to use a word that Daryl Tapp used with us a lot earlier, intentional. They have done things on purpose to get these guys to know each other because they want these things to happen. They want guys to pick each other's brains. Bobby can learn something from Jayden. Probably not as much as Jayden can learn from Bobby, not by a long shot. But they want those conversations to be open and flowing so they're a better team in September and forward because of those types of relationships. Now, defense to defense, that's a little bit more normal. And Darrick Forrest talked with me earlier today about the impact that Bobby Wagner's had on him.
Just the way that he goes about things, man, the way that he gets in here early, take care of his body, he works out early in the morning, and then he just goes throughout his day with a routine, man, and that's important. He's in year, 14, 15, man, and he's still doing great. So just learning his routine and how to take care of your body and coming to every day ready to work.
I think it's interesting that Forrest has been around here for a couple years, and he now sees that there's a different level. It shows you that the people that were here weren't on that level. And make that an indictment of whoever you want, but I'm glad that Bobby Wagner is here now. There's a reason that dude's a gold jacket guy, and they just haven't had one of those in a long, long time. Certainly one that plays and prepares like Bobby Wagner. All right, back to Jayden Daniels. A couple things to wrap up our pick 6 at 6.
Number 5.
This one's the quote of the day. You might have gotten like an ESPN alert about it type of thing. Jayden Daniels was asked about kind of his last couple weeks. He threw out the first pitch of the Nats game. That'll be number 6, the first pitch itself. But going to the U.S.-Columbia game at Commanders Field over the weekend, getting to intake some of the things that you get to do when you're a quarterback, or the quarterback specifically of the Washington Commanders. And Alex from DC News Now, who asked the question, said, star quarterback. And Jayden made sure that didn't slide as he answered the question.
I mean, I ain't a star quarterback. Yeah, I got a long way to go. I'm a rookie to answer that. But just coming out here and just being able to experience different things. Like, that was my first time throwing out a first pitch. That was my first time going to a soccer game and just seeing the atmosphere, seeing different sports, and be able to just go out there and support them, coming into a new town, a new community, and be able to go out there and support, and, showing them love. So when our season come around, the players at the Nationals game or, people on the Team USA for soccer want to come to a game, they can come show love too.
I thought that was fun. He's like, hey, I'm just doing my thing, and y'all come see us do ours. But the first part of that is the most important, because it's not just like a perfunctory, performative, oh, I'm not a star quarterback. He's like, I'm not a star quarterback. I'm a rookie. I ain't even put pads on yet. Like, that genuineness in pushing back on that narrative comes from, I think, a really, really pure place of him not wanting the pressure. I don't think that bothers him. I think he doesn't feel like he deserves that. And he is the kind of guy that when he doesn't feel like he deserves something, he doesn't want it. He wants to work for it. And that is a very different attitude than a lot of young guys who are highly touted coming to this league with, certainly ones who have been drafted to play quarterback here. And it is the type of thing that can drive success or drive failure if you don't have it. And Jayden Daniels has it. And again, we wrap up the pick six for the second straight day with the fact that it's good that he has it and is putting it towards football, not baseball. Number 6, please.
Number 6.
So, Jayden, what happened with the first pitch?
I mean, it's already on social media, so it's not really the tape. Blame that guy right there. He touched the baseball. Sam Hartman helped me warm up, so, I blame them.
Typically, throwing your teammates under the bus, bad. When it's about a first pitch and the person you're throwing under the bus is a PR guy, the great Charlie Mule, I'll allow it. Frankly, I'll allow it. Poor Charlie, just out there doing his job, making sure the backdrop doesn't fall over, making sure that we don't ask too many questions, supervising the press conference, and he's catching strays from Jayden Daniels. But if he gave him bad advice, Charlie, you got to take accountability too, bro. I mean, them's just the rules. Accountability all around. If Jayden's right, he's right. Now, if he's throwing you under the bus, then you guys can have a conversation. That's between teammates. It's not for the rest of us. He's a good sport about it. It's fun. Charlie was laughing. Jayden was laughing. Everyone's having a good time. It's June. It's the time to have a good time in the NFL. All right, that's our pick 6. We will presumably do another pick 6 tomorrow at 6 p.m. There is a practice. It's 11 a.m. to 12:30 here in Ashburn. So we will be doing the show back from in studio tomorrow. Logan will be back in town. He's actually missed the last couple of days, but he's going to practice tomorrow. So he and I will record a Take Command podcast. We'll probably play some of that for you on the radio. But presuming that it's like a real full practice, which an hour and a half on the schedule means it should be, we will probably have a pick 6 for you. DQ also speaking before practice tomorrow as well. So that's our pick 6. And when we get back, the segment that I've been waiting to do really for 2 days. A coach, a pretty prominent one, said you can't coach effort. I think that's ridiculous, and I want to talk about it. Next, it's the Hoffman Show. We're on the Team 980 and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hey, this is DA, and you're listening to the Hoffman Show on the Team 980 and the Odyssey app.